Hello kindred longevity lifestyle designers, this is AccurateSecretsOfLongevity.com. It is day number 60. It's been about approximately 8 weeks, a little bit more, since December 1st when I began this raw food bodybuilding program. And I just did a weigh-in, so you can check it out right here. So it's been exactly 2 months since December 1st, 2010. Oops. And it is going to stop at 148 pounds exactly. So we're starting month number 3 with 10 pounds already having been gained. The camera weighs about 0.4 pounds. So that's like 176.6 or so. So you can see that is basically 10 pounds that I've gained since December 1st. If you want to go back and check out my first video, you can always check out the link below and go to my page on my website that has all my videos archived there, one after the other in succession. You can go back to the first one and just see what the weight was there, but it was 137.2 pounds without the camera. I think it was 137.6 with the camera that you see in the video there. But I'm sort of going mentally by what I was seeing, because I weigh myself before filming the video, obviously, that you see me shoot there. And the camera's about 0.4 pounds. That's getting really finicky. Anyways, yeah, if I'm at 148, as you saw in the last shot just now, that's a little bit more than a 10-pound gain in a 2-month period. I'm quite happy with that. I've been working hard the whole time and eating very strictly, so I'm pleased with the results I'm getting. And some of the keys I definitely think are the actual program I'm following, as well as the enzymes I'm taking to really optimally absorb everything that I'm eating. Something else I just got this past week, and this was, if we want an exact day, this was day number 56. That was on Tuesday. And I'm filming this on the 29th, which is January 29th, Saturday, 2011. So these results are from the day number 56, like I said. So they're not from the very start of my program, unfortunately. I wasn't aware that my gym had this machine that could do this. And I'll be checking in again probably in about 3 months to get the body fat percentage, just to get an update as to what's happening, whether I am putting on a lot of body fat, what's my water composition and all that. And then of course at the end of the whole year, come December, end of December even, we'll get a complete look at how much weight I'm gaining is actually muscle mass and how much of it is body fat. So it came out, got a little printout of a little receipt here. I'll show you close up so you can see the numbers. So I apologize again, this camera's not going to pick up the details all that well. I'll be reading them out to you and hopefully you can see them. This is obviously my age. I just wiped it out with a red marker so that you can't see that, because you guys know my take on discussing one's age and how that can be in and of itself a longevity practice by just completely ignoring that in one's life and not sharing that with others. Anyways, you can see here body type standard, male. Unfortunately I don't think it has my name on here, but here it has my weight, and this actually had a different outcome from what I was getting. Sorry, the first one there is height, and it says 5'10" that's my height. Here it says my weight. It said 141.81, which is quite different. I think at the time, I measured myself that same day on the other scale that I'm always measuring on, and I was about 146 point something, maybe 147. So there was about a 5-pound difference between this and the scale that I was normally doing it on. So I mean, if I had weighed myself on this thing right at the start, it would have read something like 132, 133, something like that. So then we have the BMI here. This is 20.3. It's kind of insignificant. I guess BMR is how many calories I'm burning today. I'm not entirely sure. I'll probably post that up on the screen once I look that up afterwards. It says 1,688 calories. If that's calories a day I'm using, I don't know. And then down here we've got fat percentage. And this is the other one, that circle, and it's 10.1%. So I have 10.1% body fat. So my overall weight that I have on my body that's fat is 14.41 pounds. And the desirable range for a male is 8 to 20%. And this was the funniest thing here. It talks about what's the ideal in terms of gaining weight or losing it, depending on what your goal is. But this thing was telling me that I should gain up to 13% body fat, and that I should basically be 146 pounds with 4.8 pounds of fat gained, which is not my intention to do at all. In fact, I'm kind of interested in going a little bit lower than 10% body fat, perhaps around between 5 and 8%. Now that's not my immediate goal, because right now I am just putting on weight, so perhaps in a year's time, if my body fat percentage has increased or stayed about the same, I'm going to look at reducing it through whatever means possible at that point. I'll decide. But because I'm focused on gaining right now, I'm not going to be too concerned about trying to keep off or shed off extra fat, unless of course suddenly, for whatever reason, I started putting on a lot of fat, and I don't think that would be the case. One thing that I've just began changing this week is my diet a little bit. I was having a lot of problems doing sort of the higher sugar type fruits. I was experimenting with some dates, and yes, I felt like I could recover quickly if I put them in a drink. Get really sort of energized, or take a few dates before going to a workout. I found that they were really hard on my teeth. I was getting, after basically about a month of doing that, with some other things, also the honey's starting to get a bit much, I was really starting to get some aches almost below my gum line on certain teeth, especially the teeth I have fillings in. And just for those who are following the channel who aren't familiar with what I've said in the past, these aren't mercury fillings by any means, they're composites. But yeah, they get sore right there, and also just with the honey, you know, even eating pears and some other lower glycemic fruits, or sort of less intense in terms of sugar content fruits, even those are starting to cause aches in parts of my mouth on my teeth. I'm getting a little concerned, and I'm not interested in going to the dentist just because the scraping of the tools isn't the greatest on the enamel of my teeth, of anyone's teeth for that matter. So my intention is just to deal with that on my own, and I'm going to eliminate all the simple sugars from my diet, which I've done in the past on other occasions. And I mean, it's the winter here in Canada, and it actually doesn't feel the greatest in my body. Yes, you can get energized, but I'm having troubles with sort of congestion in my lungs just from the yin nature of the fruits, and sort of the phlegminess that the fruit would cause in this climate, actually. So I'm starting to incorporate a few cooked grains. And I've been 100% raw for quite a while, and I've at times taken in something just to try, or if I've been out with family, I might eat something that, you know, lentil soup or something. But I'm actually at this point going to start doing it on a daily basis, like have like a pot of cooked oats, or some quinoa, or some manna bread, as what I had done in the not too distant past for a little bit. And when it comes to cooked grains, I think they're much more digestible than just simply soaking them. I was getting definitely quite sick with the soaked oat, or soaked steel-cut oat porridge, which I've recommended before, the soaked steel-cut oatmeal. But I found that was a bit sort of didn't feel the greatest when it was going down. I found I could digest it. It wasn't turning up whole in the toilet that was visible or anything like that, which is a sign that you're not digesting your food well. But I did have that sort of nauseous feeling, and especially since I got sick right before Christmas, I had that sort of 24-hour flu thing, and I had thrown up that morning, and it was what I had eaten the last meal before that, and it was oats. So that has sort of put me off eating them in that raw state, interestingly. But yeah, the majority of my diet's still raw, and I'm doing some cooked grains, and just want to share that with you guys, just so you could be up to date on that. So yeah, the oatmeal is great because, one, when it's cooked, it's going to be more digestible. It's more broken down. And yes, there's some undesirable compounds created through cooking. And when you cook grains, you get acrylamides and some other things forming. That, to some extent, is more related to really heavily cooked grains, so like bread when it's cooked in an oven at a very high temperature. But something that's just simmered in a pot in water, and you basically steam it till the water's all gone, if it's like some wild rice or brown rice. I don't think I'll be doing brown rice, I've never been that keen on that, but probably rotate between oats, quinoa, maybe millet, because that's a very alkaline grain, so is the quinoa, and possibly wild rice. These are all gluten-free, and of course very easily absorbed by the body, and closer to a wild state. The other thing with the oats is I found out I haven't actually been consuming them raw, even though I thought I was. And I want to correct myself. In the past year I've said that you can get them raw if you stick to steel-cut oats, because rolled oats have been steamed for sure, because they're steamed when they're pressed flat. But it turns out that oat groats, which is the whole oat, or steel cut oats, are also steamed. I've got a link below to someone's blog post or an article they posted on their site that someone sent to me, thankfully. It was great that someone did this, and by any means, if I talk about anything and people think otherwise they have a good resource they want to send me, by all means send it to me and I can review that and see if I'm in alignment with that. But this article talked about the whole processing of oats and the different types of oats that are out there. And basically, unless you're getting oats with the hull still on, and they're actually specifically said to be raw, and in some cases they're called naked oats, even though they have the hull on, they're still called naked because they're not processed or heat treated. They have the high amounts of lipase because oats actually have a decent amount of fat in them compared to other grains. So they have this lipase enzyme that breaks down the fats within themselves pretty quickly if they're been harvested. So what happens if they've been anywhere from 4 days or longer since they've been harvested, they're going to start to go rancid and they'll stink. So that's why all oats on the market have been heat treated to destroy that lipase enzyme. And then you have the stable oat, even though unfortunately it's been heat treated, but it's not going to go rancid, which is probably worse off for you than a light cooking. If you didn't want to cook it and increase the chances of creating those acrylamides, you can still do them in their sort of soaked state like I talked about. But I might share some recipes in the future of an oatmeal or a cooked meal that I'm doing, just so that you might get some ideas if that's something you're doing or would like to add into your lifestyle. And just for those who don't know, Mana bread is made by that company you might have seen in your health food store, your local health food store, is Ezekiel bread, but it's like a smaller loaf and they mix it. It's basically just sprouted wheat, water, and sometimes they add some other things in there, like a little bit of spelt, or the one I really was enjoying was the one with the raisins and carrots. I guess it's called carrot raisin Mana bread. But if I'm going to do that, I'm going to stick to the one without the raisins now because I'm not doing the simple sugars. But it's a great thing to pick up if you're on the run and just need that sort of, it's a very lightly cooked bread as well. It's sort of like an Essene bread. Well, it's not kept raw. It's not cooked at as high a temperature as most of your other breads out there. And just because of how simple it's made, it's definitely more optimal than these ones with tons of yeast that you don't really know where it came from, what type of yeast it is, and these other things that might not be the most optimal for our health. Plus the fact that it's sprouted has reduced the gluten content and made all of the amino acids and proteins in the wheat much more absorbable as well. The other thing I had recently, after transitioning to incorporating a little bit more cooked food, was some popcorn, which I haven't had for quite a while. It was quite fun. And I'll be putting up a recipe that I did with my girlfriend tomorrow or the day after, whenever I get that up. That it was quite a lot of fun making and tasted great. And it's a great thing to have with a movie or something, and it's not like eating chips or anything else that might definitely not be optimal for your health and sort of be more congesting and slowing down your whole metabolism and whole digestive process. So let me know what you think about my results and these other things that I've spoken about in this video, and we'll get to another update next week. And with that, I'm going to say take care and embrace life without limits.